Hey, what's up, everybody? Let's have a look at what's going on here. Okay, oil back up above 49 bucks, and exactly as I said last week. Last week, if you recall, last Wednesday on the release of the weekly EIA petroleum status report, there was a lot of selling by zombies for some reason. They did not like the report, and there was all kinds of analysts commenting about how crude inventories were going to build up because of Hurricane Harvey, and they sold down to the 45 handle on WTI crude. And I said, whoever was selling that day is crazy. Crazy. We were buying. So now we're up over 49 bucks, and I have advised my subscribers to take some profits here. But the key, I think, is going to be gasoline. Now, there's a new meme going around right now. There's a new story going around right now, which, as far as that story is concerned, I am about as skeptical towards that story as I was towards the huge buildup in crude inventories that caused everybody to sell last week. The story is that Hurricane Irma now, which is a Category 5 hurricane, is going to destroy gasoline demand. From what I could see, at least right now, people are lining up to buy gasoline all over Florida. So I don't know about that. But gasoline is weak, and the thing is, we have had, or we still have, refinery outages. One of those being the Port Arthur refinery down in Texas, which is the largest in the United States. That is still, to my knowledge, that is still not up and running, or at least not up and running at full capacity. And by the way, just getting back to crude, I said once the refineries start operating again, crude demand is going to go way up, and that was the reason why we were buying into that dip. But the story here is gasoline, and I just don't think we have enough information at the present time. One of the things I spoke about in my report, and I think I mentioned it here, was that gasoline demand had flipped positive year over year for the first time in 4 weeks, and the degree of that positive year over year difference was the greatest, the largest in 33 weeks. So we did see an improvement in gasoline demand. We got to see the numbers on gasoline inventories. We got to see the number on gasoline production, and we'll have a better idea. But very interesting situation shaping up in the crude, in the oil markets. And I'm curious to find out how this is going to play out. But we have to see inventories tonight from the API release, and we have to certainly see the EIA report tomorrow. What else? Bank of Canada, with a surprise rate hike this morning, sends the Canadian dollar to a new 2-year high. By the way, the U.S. dollar, if I could just segue for a second, the U.S. dollar is really getting smashed today. And of course, who called it? I called it way back early this year, and I've been calling it. As a matter of fact, as recently as yesterday and the past couple of days, I said that the dollar's finished. The United States now, as a consequence of policy, all right, that's a consequence of its foreign policy, actually, levying sanctions against an expanding list of countries. And I've been saying this, how the United States has been weaponizing the dollar. No country, even an ally, which can be obliquely affected by these sanctions, as countries like Germany with the sanctions on Russia, it affects their economy. No country wants to be in this situation where, and I've called it the sword of Damocles hanging over your head, where the United States unilaterally, if it wants, can block your nation from the global dollar-denominated transaction system, because that's what it is. And that's like an act of war. That is the same thing for many countries when these sanctions are applied. That is like cutting off supply lines, in a war. No country wants to be in this position, and certainly a country that is innocent, that could be as a kind of a side effect, collateral damage to these sanctions. So clearly, a new system, they're toying with new system, they're thinking about it. It's not going to be Bitcoin, but what intrigues me is this yuan, the yuan-based trade in oil, gold-backed yuan. I'm not for a gold-backed currency, but I think it's the first step in a two-step process that eventually makes the yuan acceptable and freely traded and convertible. And, there you have it. So the dollar is going down. It is going down, and I do not see anything from policy that would stop this trend. Maybe if the Fed starts to cut interest rates, and that wouldn't stop it initially because the zombies would sell the dollar like crazy. But that would bring back a deflationary scenario, but I don't think the Fed is anywhere considering something like that. All right, so that's the update for now, folks. Yeah, talk to you later. Bye-bye.